Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Caitlin. I'm a romance writer, self-published, and hoping to get traditionally published soon, so I will be what is considered a hybrid author in the industry, which I'm very, very excited for. I finished another manuscript, so cheers you guys. I know, Harry Potter, please don't mind. It's a sentimental mug. Please don't come at me for this. So I have finished the manuscript, first draft for Project Hear Me Out. This is my dark rom-com. I am so much into a dark rom-com era. I love the darkness. I love the comedy that's blended with them. If you're not quite sure what a dark rom-com is, if you've seen these covers, these are dark rom-coms. They do touch on some very dark material, but they're also pretty funny. So the manuscript for Project Hear Me Out is complete at just over 80,000 words, and I have so much editing to do. Like, I got a little carried away before I actually finished it and started doing a sort of scene mapping, chapter mapping, is probably a better way to put it, where I put down in 1 to 2 lines what happens in each chapter, and then I have like my main plots. There's like his want, her want, main plot, and then like a little subplot that I wanted to throw in there. And I actually highlight throughout where they fall throughout the story. Like there was one section where there was 9 chapters where it didn't touch on any of it. Like, it's all vibes. They're amazing vibes. They're spicy. I love the comedy, the banter, the chemistry that's between these two characters. I love it. I absolutely adore these characters. But it's all vibes. There's no plot. So that is going to need a major overhaul. A big change is going to happen to that. But let me tell you, now that I've finished my first manuscript draft, what my plans are, how I intend to edit this, and what sort of big changes do I see happening with this manuscript in the future. I'm so sorry if you hear that rumbling in the background now. It is 5 degrees here in Sydney this morning. I am absolutely freezing. I tried to put on something cute. I put on like a little dress and a sweater to try to be cute for the video, along with makeup, and I'm absolutely freezing my behind off. So please don't mind the space heater that is trying to warm up this room in the background. I will try to get through this video relatively quickly for you guys so you don't have to keep hearing that. But let me go through a breakdown of what I'm going to do with this manuscript now that the first draft is finished. So this is the first book I wrote where I did not have a full outline before I actually started writing. It was going off of vibes, going off of a feel, an idea that literally popped in my head in December. And I'm not somebody who does that. I sit there, I ruminate, I think about the characters, think about the story. This one was just like, bam, everything just hit me like a freight train. And I'm like, you know what? I have a book. It's going to be cathartic. It'll be a nice little distraction from the books I'm currently writing. Let's do it. So here we are 6 months later, and I have finished the draft. Now the first thing that I do is, like I just told you guys, I do that chapter breakdown. So that will tell me, pacing wise, where things are missing. One thing I also did, and I'm waiting on the second report, is I asked for alpha reader feedback through Fiverr, and I hired 2 different alpha readers, sent them the trigger warnings list because it is very dark. They were both comfortable with the triggers, so I sent that off to them along with a huge list of questions that I needed answered, and I got feedback from one alpha reader, still waiting on the other, so once that comes in, I will give you guys a little bit of an insight as to what it was like getting those alpha reader reports. Because I know there are some people who don't utilize alpha readers. What some people do, and this is a very common practice, is to put the manuscript away for like 6 weeks or something like that, or a couple of months, not think about it, not read it, not touch it, act like it doesn't exist. And then they will pick it up and read it with a fresh set of eyes. Which, if you have the time, the capacity, I think that's a great practice to have. This book is very timely. I have a self-imposed deadline on this. I don't have the luxury of waiting around 6 weeks to come back at it with a fresh set of eyes. So I hired 2 sets of fresh eyes to go through this. So I'm still waiting on the second report, which I will get in the next week, I think. Yeah, I think I get it the 18th, which will be interesting because my agent has Project Glitter in hand, and I will be getting her feedback on the 18th as well. So I'm going to be all frazzled and all over the place. I'm going to be filming a lot the 19th, let me tell you, once I get everything in. So once I get those alpha reader reports, I will then go through, see what the common themes are between the 2 of them, where I'm going to be able to really improve this manuscript, where the plot holes are, where the pacing's off, where the characters are off. This is a very, very, very rough draft, you guys. I mean, first draft, this is as raw as it can be. Like, we have the bones of what is going to become this story. And they're basically guessing what the skeleton and everything else is going to look like, what the whole body is going to look like once it's fleshed out. But when I did my chapter breakdown as well, it did give me a little bit of a chance to sort of skim through the book. I didn't read through it thoroughly. Man, there are some really funny lines. I'm like, I have no idea where this stuff came from. I'm not a funny person, but I'm laughing out loud as I'm reading my own book, which is such an incredible feeling. So once I get the alpha reader feedback and I go through and review the reports, I will then basically go into that chapter breakdown that I have now and sort of do a compare and contrast. So I'll have two documents open. I'll have my current chapter breakdown, and then I'll have a new one where I'm adding things to it, I'm shuffling things around, I have a couple chapters that I need to delete. God, talk about kill your darlings. But we are going to have a sort of new-ish outline, so I'll know what chapters need to be fleshed out a little bit more to bring in some of the plot, to bump up some of the character wants, be able to really break down who these characters are, what it is they want in life, where is the plot going, why I derailed from the plot in certain sections. And then from that outline, I'm going to jump in and do my second draft of this manuscript. My agent had recommended this book on a podcast. This is what she does. She rewrites the book 7 times. She'll literally have 2 screens up, and she has the original draft on one screen, open blank draft on another, and literally goes back and forth, types what works, what doesn't work, fleshes it out, goes back and forth. I don't know if I could do that. I feel like I would be a little bit too overwhelmed if I had 2 screens up at once. Now remember, this is very, very subjective, you guys. Writing is very personal in how you get things done, in the way you craft a story. This is where the creative element comes into it, and this is where you have to take advice with a grain of salt sometimes, because it could be the most well-meaning advice, but if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you, and you don't need to do it. So I do believe in basically rewriting my book about 7 times by the time everything's done, and you factor in all the copy edits that you need to do, the line edits, developmental edits, like world building, all these things that you have to do by the time you're done. You've basically rewritten the story 7 times. So it is pretty much on par with what my agent does. It's just through a different process. And that's what works for me. And honestly, as long as I get a fantastic story out of the end of it that I know readers will love and enjoy, that a publisher will want, that my agent's happy with, that at the end of the day is what matters to me. Not how I got there, as long as I get there properly. As soon as I said that, for some reason, like, oh, well, there are some people that use AI. That's not using it properly. That is the hill I will die on. Do not use AI in your writing, for the love of God. And if you do, please unsubscribe to this channel and reconsider your life choices. Anywho, no AI rants in this video. That could be an entirely separate video in and of itself if I really wanted to. So, once I draft that second round, that is when I will probably go through and do a full read on my own. So that is where I don't put the book aside for a long time. I go chapter 1, read everything through as if I'm a reader myself, because at this point there's still going to be line issues, grammar issues, and whatnot. But how does the story flow as a reader? How do the characters feel as a reader? That will give me a chance to further delve into the next round of drafts, the next round of edits, and see what needs to be fixed, what needs to be polished. I'll tidy that up, and that's probably when I will send things off to a beta reader, probably between like the draft 3 to 4 stage. Then I get feedback from beta readers that's pretty high level, go through, fix things, tidy things up, make the changes, and then that is when I do another read through and another tidy up. And this is where I really start to focus on the line editing, because at this point I know that the flow makes sense, the characters make sense, I've made the changes that need to be made, plot holes are filled in, and that is when I start to really look at things more at a line level. So do a line level edit, and then I do a listen through. So there's the read aloud feature on Microsoft Word that I will use. It reads the book to me. It helps me pick up not only typos, but how does it actually feel? Because if you're listening to this as an audiobook, how's it going to sound? Is it going to sound natural, authentic, real? Is the dialogue too stiff? Does the word vomit that I threw out on the page initially not make sense? All of that. And then once I do that, I do one more sweep through spelling, grammar, Microsoft Word stuff, and then it's going off to my agent. Okay, so that is how I'm planning on tackling Project Hear Me Out. There's going to be a lot of work, but I'm also very, very excited for it. Yeah, wish me luck, you guys. If you have any questions about this book, about any of my books, about how I got here, my author journey so far, what it's like being self-pubbed and then planning on being hybrid pubbed, yeah, let me know down below. I'm always happy to answer any questions for you guys. Please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It really, really does help me out on this channel more than you know. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I will see you all in my next video.